to get that approved. All right, awesome, awesome. Okay, as everybody comes into our meeting, um, looks like we got a couple of AI bots in here too. So welcome to the AI bots, um, and to all of our attendees. Okay, awesome. All right. So we have a really good guest today. It's a longtime member. Um, I believe she's on she's an advisory board member too. Am I right, Ken?
Not yet. We're working on
Not
it.
yet. Oh, okay. Sooner not for later. Uh, but so this is the first year we've launched our financial series webinar. Thanks for all those who've been attending. We still have a lot of things in the works for next year. One of the things that we're going to be looking to launch is that we want to do, and I've been talking about this, it's in test right now. So it's going to be launched hopefully at the top of the year. For our members, we'll be able to go in and take a look at some of our old webinars. And if you're a member and you did a webinar, our members will be able to be tagged in there, so they'll see which members have done these videos, and if they want to get access to your services based on the video, they'll be able to do that as well. So again, our mission just to connect our business owners. Just some housekeeping. If you were at the annual event last week, can you just put a clap emoji in the comments or a reaction? It was just a really, really good event. I think those events, we work hard all year, and towards the end, everyone is kind of, stressed, and they're kind of almost burnt out. I'm talking about our members, our volunteers, our partners, but it's just a time that we just look back at all the wonderful things we've done. Uh, we're celebrated, and we celebrate our members. So great event. If you weren't there this year, please plan to be. I always say if there's one event you can make it to, you should make it to our annual meeting. It's like our new member orientation on steroids. We had a congressman there. Um, we had our partners, Montgomery County, FSC First, Sandy Spring Bank, some of the same sponsors for our webinar that we've been doing every month. So awesome event. Thanks to all those who helped made it a reality and help us put it together. Just some upcoming things, upcoming events you need to be aware of. Next week on the 21st, we will have new member orientation. So if you're a new member, and if you're a new member, recent member, and you've missed an orientation, it's a great event just to talk about what it is we do, how you can get involved, meet some of the leadership. And if you're just thinking about joining and you just want to know, like, hey, what is this organization about? It's a good event to join. So that's a new member orientation. You can register at our Eventbrite or scan that QR code. Eventbrite is a good way. We're getting more active on social media, so that's a good way to stay connected. But right now, the best way to stay connected, what's going on with us, our Eventbrite. Every event that we do gets launched on Eventbrite, as well as our newsletter that we put out once a week. Um, so yeah, so new member orientation. If you're a member or you're looking to become a member, that's a good event to attend. Um, we also have a networking event in Western Maryland at Jerk and Jive Bar and Kitchen in Frederick. Um, if you haven't been paying attention or you're not familiar, what we've been doing at the chamber is we got this ambitious goal, which where it's finally start to kind of crystallize, is that we want to be a statewide chamber. And I know we all think that Maryland is like right outside the Beltway, or, and that's, we just tend to think of a couple counties, but, we definitely want to be a statewide um, chamber because we have Black businesses all throughout the state. And one of the areas that we've been focusing on, because there is a very rich and vibrant Black business community, is in Western Maryland. So we finally got an opportunity that we set up an advisory board. We have some other advisory boards there. We have our Montgomery County Advisory Board, and we also have our Prince George's County Advisory Board. So this is going to be a meet and greet of our Western Maryland Advisory Board at Jerk and Jive. So if you're in Western Maryland, if you're close by, I would say come out there, especially if you're a business owner. It's an untapped market because, like I said, there's a lot of business owners out there. There's a thriving business community out there. You may have some customers that you're missing by now. So it's a good place to network out there. It's kind of some untapped potential out there. So come out and support that on the November 30th. And then
Nelson, can I interrupt
also,
you? Can I interrupt you real quick? I just want to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
point out that Steve Swain is on the webinar with us today, and he is the co-chair of our Western Maryland Advisory Board. And Venice, he's also an Allstate agent, so you guys have some synergy there.
Awesome.
I think
Yeah.
Steve
So
said,
Steve,
I don't know. Go ahead.
what are you going to say, Steve? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Steve, thanks for joining us. Yeah, so Western Maryland, like I said, very vibrant business community out there. I went over there several years back, uh, as a board member on the chamber, just trying to make some connections. So I'm really proud that we're at the point now where we actually have an advisory board put together. I think there's going to be really great things coming out of Western Maryland over the next couple of years, just for the state as a whole, but also for the chamber.
I got to correct
Um,
myself. Steve is State Farm, not Allstate. I think I want to correct myself.
Okay. All right. So we
I was
got
going to correct you,
we
but I
got
figured Steve would.
we got a wide breadth and depth of companies of Black business owners in our chamber. So yeah, also this is the end of the year. We're kind of like winding down, getting prepared for next year. We do have some upcoming events throughout the year. Stay tuned for that. Again, newsletter. We may have a holiday party, a regional holiday party. Stay tuned for that. But what we want to start preparing for is next year is our Leadership Academy. It's kind of our flagship program, you know, intensive. We've had some really good success stories from that, where people were able to, take their businesses to the next level, just from not only from the information being provided, the connections they were able to build, as well. So Leadership Academy is our flagship program. It's a great program. Just be on the lookout for that. All right. So, so I think it took care of all of the housekeeping needs. Today, we're going to be talking about ensure your business success, right? And I mean, ensure, I hope everyone got that. But we're talking about business insurance and why it's important. I want to launch a poll, right? We always want to kind of get a feel for who's in our audience. Another thing on these polls. So we're working with George Washington University right now. So as a chamber, when we go out and we're looking for funding, it's highly important that we have data points. So we're going to be sending out a lot of surveys because we want to get data points. We want to be able to show the efficacy of our programming. So we do put on a program. We want to make sure we can kind of measure the success we had. So if you see polls coming out for us and you feel like we're being bombarded, maybe somebody might even call you for a poll, please. It just helps us as an organization tremendously to give us some feedback that we're doing our job effectively. Melissa, you can go ahead and you can launch that poll. And polls like this give us data points. So one, are you a MBCC member? I'm going to go ahead and answer this too as well. Are you a business owner? And what kind of insurance do you have for your business? So we're going to put these, I might be skewing the results, and then do you need information on insurance for your business? So which one of these do you hoping to get additional information for, right? Business owners insurance, general liability, cyber policy, errors and omission, employee benefits insurance, or other. So, and like I said, I'll participate. We got 4 out of 4 answered. Okay. So, and then Melissa, maybe you can share the results with us. We got so much people in here. We only have 4 results. Can we get a little bit more?
Hi, this is Stephanie McMillan. I only answered three because the fourth question didn't give me the option of saying I didn't want anything.
Okay, I guess that could be other. All right,
Okay.
but no problem. Okay, thanks, doctor. Um, so yes, so we're going to cover that today. And the person that we have is, like I said, one of our members. Um, okay, let's look at the results. Are you MBCC member? Yes, we have 50% are MBCC members. The other 42%. Hope you can go to next week's new member orientation just to learn more about the organization and how you can support Black business in the state of Maryland. Are you a business owner? 92% are business owners. What kind of insurance do you have for your business? So we got business owners, we got 40% has that, 80% has general liability, 20% has cyber policies, 30% has errors and omission, 20% have health insurance, and 10% have ancillary, which is group life. Do you need information on insurance for your business? Okay, and then we have about 44% say that they do want information on business insurance, general liability, cyber policy. All right, so people need some information, and we're going to get you that information today. Um, again, so Melissa, can you make me a host as well? So thank you. So our guest today, oh, you already highlighted her, is Venice Mundy Harvey. Venice, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Awesome. Good afternoon. So you've been, I've been going to events that we're constantly running to, and I think one of the first things I learned that made me realize, that made me intrigued is, can you tell us a little about your connection and the work you do, that kind of connected you with the Chamber, with the Caribbean Association? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Um, well, I've been serving as the Caribbean American Advisory Group chair
Okay.
to the Montgomery County County Executive for 12 years. And
Okay.
I've been around with the chamber for over 10 years. When you mentioned earlier that you're coming up on your 10th anniversary, so 8 years I've been connected with the chamber.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So,
And to
as we
do
met,
a lot of community work in Montgomery County, community service work.
including the
awesome.
Montgomery County Black Collective.
Oh, yes, I'm also a board member of the Montgomery County Black Collective. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, one of our pillar partners is the Montgomery County Back Collective. So you're very active. You're a member of the chamber, and I know you own your own insurance firm. Can you tell us a little? How did you get? Which one of the things we're going to be doing a lot more, um, next year is talking about how you can. We have a partnership with the International Franchise Association, but as you come to own your own, your own practice, your own agency. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and your background?
Sure, sure. I started my financial my career, I should say, in the financial industry, starting in the banking. I'm from Jamaica, and right out of college, I started working with the largest bank in Jamaica. Migrating here, I continued that journey, working in the bank, doing when I left, I was a branch manager, stayed there for quite a number of years, and then transitioned when I was laid off in 1996 from the bank. I decided I need to take a career change, so I wouldn't go back into banking. So I started experimenting rather with different things, worked in the international paper for quite a while in their accounting department, then
Okay.
transitioned to a printing company, doing print sales to the government, federal government. Did that for a while. And then 9/11 happened, and the industry started changes, major change. You could see that
Right.
printing, technology came in and there was a lot going on. So I decided to transition to something else. And then thought about it that I did do great work when I was in the bank with annuities and life insurance, really loved that. And so my vision was to own an agency. So I transitioned from the print job, I went to working with one of the competitors with the goal in mind that I will transition to my agency. Got some, because I needed the experience in the property and casualty side, the home, the auto, the business insurance. Did that for about 2 years. And then the opportunity came up for owning my Allstate agency. So I interviewed, got the opportunity, started from scratch. So I was my first customer back on September 1st, 2005. So 18 years ago. Fast forward to maybe 5 years later, I purchased another agency that was established. And then in 2014, I purchased a second agency, established agents, combined them, and I've been running three agencies for up until 2020 when COVID came. I merged two together, my Clarksburg and my Gaithersburg, and still operate the out of my main office in Gaithersburg with my Glen Burnie office.
So a couple questions about that, right? Because I don't think I picked up on this the last time we spoke, but it seems like you have a pretty extensive, a lot of experience with sales, and I think a lot of our business owners tend to overlook that aspect of business. But how important is sales when it comes to growing your business?
Sales is very important because whether you're selling, you're always selling something. If you're a business owner, you're selling something, right? You're selling
Right.
yourself. You're
Mhm.
selling your product. So sales is very important. You really have to know how to position yourself and how to network yourself.
Mhm.
Having a sales mentality.
Yeah. And then so again, I think next year we're going to talk a lot about what it may look like to acquire a business or even sell your business. Can you talk a little bit about that process of acquiring your own those additional agencies after you started your own?
Um, well, within all states, you have to be able to acquire another agency or to purchase another agency. You have to be
Yeah.
performing at a certain level. So for
Okay.
me, it was keeping myself and performing well. So when the opportunity arises, I'll be able to take advantage of it. And so with that, you'll find that you will have to approach a seller, or a seller may approach you because they know you are qualified for an Allstate to purchase. And with once that is taking place, and I realize, then you want to align yourself with professionals who can guide you along that process. So I made sure I had my accountant involved, I had an attorney
Okay.
involved, and I'm also talking to other experienced agents that have gone down that journey.
Okay. Awesome. 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 So you had a team around you, which I think is another important thing that we've been
Team of
like uncovering a
professionals.
lot. Yeah,
Mhm.
a team of professionals around you. That you can't just do it all yourself. So that's really important. So let's talk a little bit about business insurance and what you do. So as of one, not only as you're a business owner, but you work with business. So can you talk a little bit about the services that you provide for business owners?
Well, I would say I help business owners to manage their risk and to really prevent them from financial disaster down the road, right? You want to
Right.
manage your risk and you want to use insurance to protect you from any financial disaster down the road. And that could be in the form of a business owner's policy, which would be able to bundle with your um, personal property and with one policy or cyber security coverages, everything would be under your business owner's policy. Then there's
Mhm.
general liability, workers' comp, professional liability, your errors and omission, and commercial auto as well. It's very
Okay.
important. And Keyman insurance, which is in the form of a life insurance.
Okay. So let's talk about that journey, right? Like, how does a business owner kind of determine, you know, what is the business insurance that they need, right? How do they know? I mean, we listed some of those in the service, so the survey. But if you're a business owner, you're just bootstrapping your business, you just started, how do you know what insurance you should be looking at for your business? How do you determine that?
I would say the most important thing there is to make sure you're talking to an insurance agent, because
Okay.
you as an individual will not probably realize what you really need. So you need to, again, make sure you're surrounded with the right people. So you have a primary doctor, right? So you want to have an insurance agent, and you want to consult with that agent. You want to be able, I always say to people, when you're talking to an insurance agent, be sure that you're able to explain exactly what you do.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
how your risk is going to be underwritten and need to be done properly. You don't want to describe something, and a lot of time folks will do that. They'll describe what they're doing, they'll hold back because they don't want to pay so much for the insurance. But as I always say, you don't know, you don't need insurance until you need it, and when you need it, it is too late. So make sure you are talking to an insurance agent who can properly guide you along that process.
It's funny you say that because, on the commercial health insurance side, and, if you've been on an employer plan, you would probably know this, but it doesn't seem like it's so intuitive as I would think it would be, right? That the insurance company doesn't want you to apply for insurance when you need it. If that was the case, the insurance company, people would only get car insurance when they knew they were going to get into an accident.
Exactly.
People,
Exactly.
people would only get health insurance when they were sick. So there's a concept in our industry called adverse selection, where the insurance companies don't want to select people that that sorry about that, I'm getting a call. They don't want to select people in the middle of when they're getting insurance, right? That's not when you
Right.
want to get insurance. So so that's kind of the concept that doesn't come naturally to most people as well. So what about some of the other types of insurance that are available? Like what would be an instance someone would need errors and omissions insurance? Do you guys do errors and omissions as well?
We do errors and omission, professional
Okay.
liability. You want to make sure if you're in a business, say, myself as an insurance agent, right? I want to make sure that I
Right.
have errors and omission, because if I make an error in covering someone, whether it be a homeowner or a business owner, and then there's a claim situation, and then there was some error on my part of not writing the risk as stated by the insured, then that could be an issue, right? An attorney might omit something on a document that might cause issue down the road for a claim situation with an insured. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Same thing here. Yeah. I want to make sure you cover all that. Okay. So I know a big thing that's coming up lately, and I think it's especially with remote work, like a lot of the carriers now have been um, requiring us to get cyber insurance, which it wasn't a requirement before. But have you been seeing a trend towards more people getting cyber policies? And why would a business owner definitely want to consider that the cyber policy?
cyber policy is very important as we move into this space, that technology is a
Mhm.
benefit to all of us, but it can also pose this issue, right? For instance, if you are a business that has access, and this is most common, I would think in cyber, that you have access to people's credit card information, right?
Mhm.
And that is breached. Now you can be liable, and
Yeah.
that's when your cybersecurity would insurance would kick in to pay any damage there that you might occur as on your side.
Yeah, and some of those penalties that you can get assessed for having a breach of data can be very hefty, right? It can really be really extensive for a business. Isn't that the case?
Is that correct? For instance, there's a case where over $107,000 were paid out for an individual who their computer system was infected. And over
Oh,
16,000 credit cards were compromised.
wow.
And a lot of us now, even the small business owners, a lot of us are storing or accepting payments for services
Payments electronically.
by credit card. And that could be an issue.
Yeah, so that's another one. What's some other insurance? I know we talk about business owners insurance. What is that policy needed for business owner?
A business owner's policy, it's a general liability policy combined with other endorsements on there or other coverages that's broader than a general liability. So it would cover your personal property. It could cover building, depends on if you own the building. It just afford broader bundled coverage. A general liability is going to be straight liability with very limited additional coverage.
Okay. All right. So and when I was talking to you, I didn't even know that this was something that would be considered. So commercial auto, because can you tell me? Because it's me, I have general liability, I have business owners, definitely have need errors and omission. But what's a commercial auto policy, and why would that be beneficial to a business owner, or who's someone that would want to consider that type of a policy?
If you're using your auto, if your auto is registered in your business name, then you would be required to have a commercial auto
Gotcha.
policy. And the other thing that you find very frequently is that contractors, they will have utility vehicles that they're using for their business, but they could be insured on their personal insurance. That is not the way you're supposed to be insured. If your personal policy is for personal use, and you could find yourself in a claim situation that is not paid because you are using your personal auto for business use.
So
If
let me ask you a
your
question.
auto for business use, then it is a commercial policy.
So my vehicle is a personal vehicle, but let's say I was traveling to a conference and I got into an accident, traveling to that conference, and it was a business conference for my business. Are you telling me that if the insurance company knew that I was traveling for business, that they could reject the policy? I mean,
No,
the
no,
claim?
no.
Okay,
Your personal auto,
okay,
you can drive it to your conference. No, if you are
okay,
in business use, going to say, for instance, a contractor
got you,
transporting goods and using the vehicle
got
to
you.
go to his site where he's performing work, and that's strictly the use of that vehicle.
That's vehicle. Got you, got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we have a question. Does insurance for nonprofit differ from for-profits?
Very good question. I was going to bring that up as well. A lot of general liability is most what the nonprofit would need, or you
Okay.
can need, but it's very important also for nonprofits to have liability insurance. For
Right.
instance, if you're a nonprofit that's maybe going from site to site, you're having events, a lot of time you think you don't, but you need the general liability, and then you'll still go out and purchase or a one-day event policy. But if you have
Yeah.
that policy, then that's all you need. You don't need the one
Oh,
event policy. So nonprofits can be exposed. Someone just referred someone to me for a nonprofit for insurance, and this person was operating as a nonprofit, were involved with children of all things, but did not have general liability insurance.
oh, oh, I get it. I get it.
So the short answer is yes, you do need liability, and it's the same.
So one of the ones I know that as the chamber that we have to get is directors and officers, which it kind of, I guess, covers you as an officer of an organization. Is that something that nonprofits should typically consider and get as well?
Definitely. definitely, and it can be included in just one broad policy, which combine the general liability and the officers and directors policy. And it's very
Awesome.
important. I remember doing a risk management training once that says most exposure and liabilities for nonprofits start in the board, because the officers and
Mm.
directors make the wrong decision, vote the wrong thing, don't ask the right questions. And so it is very important.
Gotcha. So you mentioned earlier, which I see this a lot, is that you know, business owners decide that they want to kind of cut cost or kind of, skimp on cost and not get insurance. Are there any examples that you've seen in your career where that has cost a business owner? Can you can you share something, maybe an example of a business owner who either didn't have the right policy or just didn't have a policy in place at all, and how it affected their business?
Um, I did have a recent case, not that it cost them because I caught it before.
Okay.
Someone was shopping for insurance, came into my office. I gave them the price after asking the right questions to analyze the risk. They found out they were a general contractor, but their insurance was that was set up and they were paying very little for is actually was for a subcontractor, right? Or remodeler, very not extensive as a general contractor having all the correct coverage. So if something
Gotcha.
had happened and the insurance company realized that they're actually a general contractor, could have posed some problems. And
Yeah.
the thing you have to always remember is that you want to protect your risk for what you're doing. You're not buying
Okay.
insurance costs. You can get cheap
Exactly.
insurance, but you want to make sure, again, it's going to be there when you need it.
Yeah, I always tell my clients, you get what you pay for. So if you're always going cheap when you need it, and it's like, sometimes you can't win for losing, because when the claims do come in, and then they're kind of surprised and shocked about the level of coverage that they actually had because it wasn't enough, right?
Right.
So you get what you pay for. So what about on the other side of it? Has
Here's
there
one
ever
thing.
been?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Vince. No, go ahead.
We
What were you
didn't
gonna
touch
say?
on the workers' comp, and I don't know if you were going there. But workers' compensation
No,
is
we could.
also a very important policy, but in the state of Maryland, it is required.
Right.
If you have an employee, so you always want to make sure that it's something that you're looking into and purchasing as well. It's a very important policy for small business owners. Mhm.
So even if you have one employee, um, you you have to have workers' comp
Correct.
insurance.
Correct.
Okay. Does it matter if the employee is working remotely? Does that matter at all?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So no
Mhm.
matter what, you have to have workers' comp. So now, and I mean, we spoke a little bit about this, but how does it work if you have workers' comp and there's a claim that's filed? Like, how does that affect a business? Because you're hiring employees. I think that's one thing that I'm hoping that we could address as a chamber is that our businesses, we want them to encourage them to create more jobs, right? But I think there's a hesitancy for business owners to bring on employee because there's an additional risk, right? And so help us understand how can having workers' comp and maybe having a claim, how that can affect a business owner?
Eh, From a price point, everyone, you always want to keep your risk down to keep your
Mhm.
costs lower, right? Because you could see increases as the more claims. So you want to make sure that you're managing your risk. And how you
Mhm.
manage your risk is to just make sure you're creating a safe space and a risk-free environment. Things will happen, but you want to minimize that by making sure you're doing your homework and protecting your environment. Training with your employees as to what's required. If you have employees that are lifting things and all of that, it's good to make sure that you are training them and following the
Mhm.
OSHA guidelines as well.
Yeah. So, and I mean, go ahead. You were going to say something, Venice?
And also, workers' compensation is important, especially for employee, because I do think employers should have supplemental benefits to supplement their health insurance, and likewise. And so with this workers' comp, a lot of people will get injured outside of the job on the weekends,
Right.
and they will come in on Monday morning and claim that they were injured on the
Injured on the
job.
job.
So you have
So
to have,
yeah, and we spoke about that.
yeah,
Yeah, we spoke about that. And I mean, we're getting a little bit of questions about that as well. So I want to kind of pivot a little bit just to talk about, having employees and workers' comp. One, and I know this is not necessarily, it kind of starts maybe some HR related questions. But one of the questions someone has is workers' comp required if you have subcontractors. So if you have if you have a 1099 employee, are you required to get workers' comp insurance for those employees? I mean, for those contractors, not employees?
um, if they're 1099, I don't think it's required. I would definitely try to check with your payroll company on that.
Yeah, I'm not,
Yeah,
and I think the bigger question is that starts to come up is when you start classifying, because this is what's happening a lot, I think, for a lot of our business, is that they have actual contractors that might or can be classified as employees. So we're going to do some more webinars on that as well. So just how do you know when you have an employee versus how do you know when you have a contractor? And just some quick rules of thumbs that I've known is that if you control the person's hours, their work, you provide equipment. Some of these things can start making this contractor look like an employee. And the reason why we want to make sure is because if a contractor does get injured on a job and we find out that they probably were an employee because you control their hours, you control when they can come into work, those things, it can become a little bit dicey. But you mentioned about having health insurance. So you were saying that if you do have other insurance, a worker is not likely to file a claim because they'll be able more so be willing to use their own health insurance that you provide for them as a business, correct?
correct, correct. I guess, yes, because you'll find that people, and we've seen this, where you'll find people will be injured outside of the job, but because they don't have health insurance, or they don't have other means, supplemental benefits for accidents is one of the good
Right.
things, then they will try to use their workers' comp. Does that make
Right.
sense? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does make sense. And
Yeah,
I think there's other things, you could provide like long-term disability, short-term disability, which you guys do as well, right?
correct, correct.
The other thing I didn't know that you do, and we talked about this because I didn't, we told you said you're in, and you still do some other financial services. So you can also do retirement policies. I mean, life insurance and annuities as well. You guys, I heard you told me that you do those as well through your agency, correct?
We do. I do retirement planning, annuities, life insurance, 401ks, IRAs, everything insurance.
All right. So you guys have a
Short-term
full house
disability,
over there.
long-term disability, yeah. And also talk
Okay.
about disability too. Sorry, let me just
Well, go
cover
ahead.
this a second. Disability insurance, that's for small business owners. You
Uh-huh.
want to really think about that. Especially new business owners, right? If
Right.
if you were to be injured, when can you afford? Can your cash flow afford to pay your bills, your mortgage, your
Yeah.
personal bills? So you should heavily think about some sort of disability as a small business owner.
So we're gonna take a little bit because I think we have a question. Um, we have some questions in the from our audience, and one of them is directly talking to one of the things you mentioned. Someone asked, he says, I pay myself as a W-2 employee. Do I need workman's comp policy?
Um, it depends on your business, what profession, type of business you're in, because the state of Maryland does allow some employers to waive themselves from workers' comp. So a lot of contractors can be waived and you don't need to have workers' comp on yourself. Other professions you do need as the business owner to be included on the workers' comp. Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I think it does. But I think that it goes back to your point is though, if you do pay yourself as a W-2 employee and something does happen to you, maybe on the job, um, do you have the bandwidth and the cash flow to continue to pay your bills? So
Right.
it's about managing risk and how you manage those risks as a
Definitely,
business owner.
definitely.
Um, what else? We have another question. Someone's asked, this is a little looks like a specific. We are being asked to double our coverage to accommodate working in Maryland casinos. Have you ever seen exemptions with thresholds for small businesses?
Um, no, I haven't.
Okay, all right. So another topic that I think for business owners that goes overlooked a lot is key man insurance, right? Is key man insurance. So for those that may not know, what is a key man insurance policy?
Human insurance policy is really a life insurance purchase for the key individual or individuals in the policy in the business. So if something should happen to you as the business owner, there's as a life insurance classified as key man paid by the business would be able to help that transition, right? Would help keep the business afloat for a while until the spouse or whoever or the other partner can
Hmm.
gather more income, sell the business, whatever they need to do. So that payout from that life insurance will keep the business afloat. Okay. A person that came to my mind was a few months ago, or maybe it was just last month, when that young business owner who had a partner was murdered out in Baltimore and the business was doing so well. The first thing that came to my mind is that I hope that business had a Keyman insurance so that other partner can keep the business going without
Right.
much of an interruption.
No,
You know,
that's really important. That's really important. So let me ask you, and this is what um, we always ask our guests that come on. Could you give us some kind of what are some key steps? You know, I know you mentioned talk to an agent is definitely the first step that they should do. But what are some like key things that a business owner can do to help it to remain profitable or take it the best advantage and make sure that they have the right policy in place? What are some things that they should look for?
they should evaluate their exposure, right?
Okay.
Evaluate because your liability insurance is going to cover you against a broad range of losses, right? Involving
Hmm.
injury on the job. If someone comes into your office, gets injured, or your employee, your property damage, it's going to cover you against lawsuit. If someone were to file a lawsuit against your business, that will cover you as well. So it's a broad range of risk that it can cover you, and you as a business owner should really evaluate that and be talking to your attorney, be talking to your accountant. Accountants are always good at really helping you and guiding you along with these things. And most definitely, you should be talking to an insurance agent. For instance, when I started my business, I knew what I needed, the people that I needed to surround myself with: an accountant, right? I need an attorney. You want to make,
Hmm.
as an insurance agent, I didn't need an insurance, but I can tell you how important it is for you to evaluate your exposure and to be talking to an insurance agent. Because
I think that's the big
a
one.
lawsuit could wipe your business out instantly,
Right.
right? It could wipe your business out instantly. Was just a couple of years ago that I had a situation, personal situation where a child was in the office and apparently had put something into the toilet. It overflowed overnight, flooded the doctor downstairs office. And the next morning I came in, I'm trying to manage, you're wondering where the water is coming from. Of course, it was coming from my office. And we were closed at the time for COVID. So it was interesting because that attorney, that doctor could have sued me for lost income for days that he's not able to operate.
So operate.
You know,
So, and I guess that brings me to
a
my
lot of things.
next question, because I like to hear, about instances and stories where, do you have any cases where where having the right insurance protected them in their business in a sense, where they had a claim and they were able to either stay open? Anything you want to share with us of an example? I think those are the ones that kind of like really draw the message home about why this might be an important topic to a business owner.
Well, in my case, where I was able to smoothly file that claim and get the doctor taken care of. Always try to minimize the risk too. So if you have a business owner and a claim is filed against you, make sure that you are calling your agent, making sure you're explaining and see how we can help to minimize the risk there. But being able to have the insurance and being able to execute or have your agent execute for you is a good thing. I don't think I can think of a situation outside of that when the insurance is really kicked in and
No, that's a good one.
protect the person. Yeah.
No, that's definitely a good one. All right, so we're going to take a couple. I know we've had some questions, but we got a little bit of time. Do we have any questions? I know one person asked this question. They asked, how do we know who best under your employees that you should get key man insurance under? How do you identify who might be someone in your business that you should get key man insurance for?
That would be the owner or the co-owner.
Okay.
It's normally who the business Keyman Insurance is purchased for.
I
So,
would
for
add as
instance, I
well,
want to have, pardon me?
I would add as well, if there's an employee, say like in a restaurant, if you have a chef and they are the main,
Right.
They are the cash flow. And if something happens to that
Right.
chef, what happens to the business? You may want to consider getting insurance for that person. So anyone that's key, that if something
Key.
happens to them, it's going to have a negative impact on your
the business.
operation.
On the business.
Right. You always want to do that. Yeah. It could even be your office manager that would really put a damp on your business.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else have any questions that we want to they want to ask while we have a little bit of time? And also, Venice, can you please share your information that if anyone does have any question, I think we're going to be reaching out to you as a chamber to make sure all our bases are covered as well. But could you share your information if you can put it in the chat with the yeah, and how everyone can get in contact with you if you do have any needs. So I think the big key takeaways for me is one, you want to make, like we've been saying for a while, right? You want to keep a team of professionals around you. So we're talking insurance, bankers, accountants, insurance professionals, attorneys, and these can kind of help you. It's kind of like almost your all-star team, right? Okay, and she put that in the chat, so you can give her a call or text her or on that number. So I think that's a big important thing and I think the most important thing is work with a specialist. So give an agent a call to find out where, and so you can explain your process and what you do, and how best you can cover those risks for loss. So, Venice, I want to thank you for the time. It doesn't look like we have any questions. Anybody else has any questions? I don't know if there's any comments you want to give before we wrap up here?
Well, obviously, I want to thank you and Venice for putting this on today. This stemmed from our boot camp, and we got our surveys. Our survey feedback came back and said we should have allotted more time to the insurance component. So we said, okay, we'll comply with that and bring Venice back to do an hour-long session. So thank you for that, Venice. Thank you for doing the boot camp. Thank you for doing this session here today. And then I'm going to kind of hook. There are a couple of business bankers on here that make contact me. I want to get you in front of them. So we have Main Street Bank on here. We have M&T Bank on here. So we'll make sure that you get to know those folks in the chamber.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Right. No, thank you so much.
That was great.
Oh, we do that. Oh, we got M&T there. Okay, as well. So of course, remember next week, just as a reminder, new member orientation on the 21st. Again, if you kind of just want to learn about the chamber, if you just recently joined, it's a great kind of quick webinar in the middle of your day to kind of learn about what we do, what are the resources that are available to you, and how to kind of get involved and engaged. We also have Western Maryland. If you are a Western Maryland or you close by, or if you're just a new business owner, I just think that's a great opportunity, to kind of meet our advisory board in Western Maryland. And just keep an eye out for our newsletter. Join our newsletter. If you're not already subscribing to our newsletter, we put a ton of information in there every week when we put those out. That's everything that we're doing is always updated in there, as well as our Eventbrite calendar. We're always constantly updating those with events as well. Again, just want to thank everybody who showed up. Next year is going to be a lot more of these coming next year. We're going to do a lot more varied topics around financial services. We're going to do some more in-person events as well. So stay tuned for that. And I just want to thank everybody for coming.
Real quick, Shanton, Derek, I see you guys came on camera. Was there anything you wanted to say?
I thought that was a great introduction to what people need for insurance. So thank you very much. Because as a banker and as an SBA lender, a lot of people sometimes don't understand why we require the insurance requirements that we do. So thank you for explaining that.
Welcome.
Yeah, to piggyback off Shanton, especially key man life insurance through the SBA, I think that's a big thing for businesses that people don't necessarily understand. So again, thank you for this presentation, this conversation.
You're welcome.
Like that background, Derek.
Yeah, I had to go digging on our database to find it, but
Yeah, and I would say just go out and get a quote too. I mean, I think if you for our lenders that are on there, I think if to go get a quote, that's the first one you can start if you're looking to get financing, is just to find out what it's going to cost. And I think that's just the first step you can immediately take right now, is find out what a quote is going to cost, and then you can make some more decisions from there.
Exactly, correct.
All right, if we don't have anything else, Ken, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to address or put before our audience.
That's it. Everybody have a good day. We'll give you back 6 minutes. And again, thank you, Nelson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vince.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
Ken, I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
give you a
Venice.
Have a
call.
great day, everyone.
Ken, this is Stephanie
All right, thanks.
McMillan. I'm gonna